Hi, from the caption, you would have seen what is our today's topic. Yes, our today's topic is something on the changes that has been made in the long form audit report. Now, since this is the audit time and majority of the branches are undergoing audit, so I thought of making a video on this which would help everyone a lot. Uh, so in this video, we'll be discussing some of the major changes that has undergone with respect to the long form audit report, and that too with respect to the fund based advances. So hi guys, my name is Rahul Srivastav, and let us straight away start our topic. Okay, so starting with, we'll discuss this point by point. So starting with our first point, the first point says that all the advances that has been checked by the auditors, from now onwards they will have to give a detailed report in a particular format. Now earlier this was not included. So what would be that detailed report format type? So that would be nothing but that would contain like account number, account name, balances including fund plus non-fund, and then total and etc. So all these things they will have to write down in a particular format which has been prescribed by RBI, which has been readied by RBI. And what would be the implication of this? Friends, the implication would be that this format has to be submitted to RBI. So you know the implications now. Since this has to be submitted to RBI, how seriously the auditors would be checking the advances. Earlier, this report has not to be submitted to RBI. Now, what is point number 2? Point number 2 says that there has been certain modification in the definition of large advances. Now, first, what is the modification as of now, which is valid as of now? So now only 10% of the outstanding aggregate balance, including fund plus non-fund advances of the branch, or 10 crore rupees, whichever is less, will be considered with respect to the large advances. What was earlier definition? Earlier definition was, instead of 10%, it was 5%, and instead of 10 crore, it was 2%. Now, since this has been changed, what is the implication of this? The implication is nothing but the above mentioned threshold auditors will check every detail like rate of interest, limit sanction, and valuation of security, etc. etc. So what job, what is our job with respect to this? So our job is that with respect to the advances, with this modification of in definition of the large advances, we need to check prior of audit the rate of interest, the limit sanction, the valuation of security, and like these kind of details. So be prepared with this. Now, what is point number 3? Friends, point number 3 indicates that there has been a new clause added with respect to the transaction audit. Now, with respect to transaction audit is something like, suppose they have taken an account, and suppose for that particular account there are 100 pages of transaction. So there is still there is certain doubt that whether they would be checking all those 100 pages or certain transactions needs to be checked with respect to that. So based on this transaction audit, they would be commenting on the Lfar. So this was with respect to the transaction audit, but as I said, more clarity is needed with respect to this. Now, what is point number 4? Point number 4 indicates that a new clause has been added with respect to quick mortality cases. Now, what are these quick mortality cases? Quick mortality cases are those cases for the accounts which have become NPA within a short span, that is within a year. So if your branch contains any such account, be prepared with this, that what you have to answer and all that with respect to quick mortality cases. Now next, point number 5. A new clause has been added with respect to whether in borrower accounts the applicable interest is correctly fed into the system or not. So before audit, just ensure that interest rate is correctly fed into the system, that is into our CBS system. It is correctly fed, so that, I mean, there should be no adverse comment, or you should not fall into trouble that okay, इसका interest rate बहुत कम लग रहा है और इसका interest rate बहुत ज़्यादा लग रहा है and all that. Now next, point number 6. Point number 6 says that whether interest rate is reviewed periodically as per the guidelines applicable to the floating rate loans which are linked to the MCLR or as external benchmark lending rate. Now floating rates has needs to be changed. Now what would auditors ask with respect to point number 6? They could ask for the MCLR circulars. So because MCLR circulars says that your rate of interest are subject to change every month, because MCLR changes every month. So for floating rates, whether interest rate has been reviewed periodically or not. So be ready with that particular point also. Now next, point number 7. Point number 7 says that have you come across cases of frequent renewal or rollover of short-term loans? If yes, then auditors may ask you to give the details. So also be prepared with that point. Now again, one point to be noted is that you may refer to RBI circular dated 1st of August 2020, wherein the circular says that renewal should be done where it is actually required. So this is also a newly added clause. You may refer to this circular and be prepared with this point also. Now point number 8. Whether correct or valid credit rating, if available from RBI accredited rating agencies, has been fed into the system. Now credit rating is valid for, they may ask, this is a newly added clause, so they may ask for you. What they may ask? They may ask that what is bank policy in this regard? What does bank policy says? Up till, what is the threshold limit above which we want the credit rating? So credit rating is required. What is that threshold limit? So be prepared with that bank policy. Also be prepared that whether that system is correctly fed or not, whether this credit rating has been correctly fed into the system or not. Then if rating is downgraded, whether it has any impact on the classification of NPA, that is what the auditors will check upon. Okay. Now next is that you might be aware that, wait just a minute, you might be aware that as per RBI, there are few credit rating agencies which are approved from RBI, correct? So what are those credit rating agencies? Those credit rating agencies are ICRA, CARE, CRISIL, Fitch India, Brickworks Rating and SMERA. So only from these credit rating agencies we need to take the accredited rating. Now next, point number 8. What does point number 8 says? Point number 8 says that did the bank provide loans to companies for buyback of shares or securities, which is a newly added clause. Now when auditors would ask, now this would again applicable to few of the branches, those are extra large or very large branches, but the bank will straight away say no. Now what would auditors ask? What would auditors ask, or what would auditors watch on this perspective? They would possibly see the diversion of funds. Now how they could check, according to me, they could go ahead with, suppose they would ask for, okay, tell me for which are the companies, they would see which are the companies that has gone for the buyback of the shares. Now suppose if your branch or if your bank has any such exposure, then they will see whether the diversion of the funds has taken place or not. So be prepared with point number 8 also, that is buyback of shares. Now point number 9 says that whether lien has been marked in the deposit accounts in CBS or not. Now this is very important, because generally what happens, many of us do the lien, we do mark the lien in the paper, but not we forget to mark the lien in the CBS. So just be prepared with this also, that whether it has been marked in the CBS or not. Point number 10. Point number says that whether drawing power has been properly computed or not in case of review renewal. Now you must be aware of how drawing power is calculated. Now whether next point with respect to this is that whether latest audited financials, now this is very important, latest audited financials have been taken or not for the review renewal process, because you know the process how it goes on. I would not comment on that, so be prepared with point number 10 also. Now next point is our point number 11, which says that whether in stock audit any adverse comment was there in the stock audit report, and if yes it was there, whether suitable corrective action, whether suitable corrective course of action was implemented or taken or not. So just go with the stock audit report, the latest one that was conducted in your branch, if it is applicable, and if there was any adverse comment, just ensure that before audit that has been implemented. Point number 11, sorry, point number 12. Point number 12 says that whether there is a substantial deterioration in the value of the security, during financial year as per the latest valuation report in comparison with earlier valuation report. So this is also a newly added clause. So just go with the valuation of the security report and just compare with this and be prepared. Okay. Now point number 13 says that whether the branch has any red flagged account, and if yes, they could ask for, they could ask for the bank policy on the same for the red flagged accounts. So just be prepared with the policy of our bank or your bank on the in the case of red flagged accounts. Now next point that has been added is comments on adverse features considered significant in top 5 standard large advances and which needs management attention. Now this is a newly added clause, and this is a very important clause according to me, because they would be checking the top 5 standard large advances. Okay, so be prepared with this. Go and first go ahead with all the advances, top 5 standard large advances, and just check whether all the compliances has been you have done all the compliances or not, and then be prepared. So because they may ask for the top 5 large advances, and then if there are any adverse features, they could comment upon this. Now next point is with respect to restructuring. Now you may have done many of the restructuring this year because of COVID and all that. So just ensure that whether the branch has reported accounts restructured, rephased during the year to controlling authority of the bank or not, and whether it has been implemented with respect to the RBI guidelines or not. So see whether RBI guidelines for restructuring and all such cases have been followed or not. So take out the circular on restructuring of RBI, just see whether you have complied with all those guidelines or not. So they may ask for the guidelines with respect to restructuring. Now next comes decree accounts. So this is also a newly added clause which says that is the branch prompt in ensuring execution of decrees obtained for recovery from the defaulting borrowers, and they can ask for age wise analysis for the decree obtained and pending execution. So take out the report for your decree accounts of your branch or your zone or your bank as a whole, and then be prepared with that, so that as soon as they ask for, you could give the reports instantly. So they can also ask for the list of suit filed cases along with the latest status. So just be prepared with that. Also for decreed cases, they can ask for the latest position with regard to execution done or pending. So this was with respect to decreed accounts. So these were the major changes that I had tried to compile. For details, you may refer to your bank circular, you may refer to the RBI circular. I hope this was useful to you. If you like my initiative, kindly subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for latest updates. In case you need any other kind of help with respect to audit, and if I know, I am very happily I would very happily share that knowledge with you guys. So thank you for watching the videos. Take good care of yourself and all the best for your audit. Thank you.